Hi there, it's Brad here from modernfirmpractices.com, and this is episode 17 of the Modern Firm Practices show. And today I'm going to be covering nurturing not only your existing clients, but nurturing potential clients and potential prospects that you're talking with and that you're engaging with and that might have been referred through to you. So the reason I'm talking about nurturing is because many firms I chat to want to grow. They want to increase in size from a revenue perspective, from a number of clients perspective, and that can be for a range of certain business and personal reasons. And to do that, we need to have an inflow of new work, either increasing the work with existing clients or bringing new clients into the fold. And so what I'm talking about here is having certain activities and nurturing activities and marketing activities in place to allow you to facilitate that nurturing of existing clients and of new prospects, because most accountants don't have any of that in place. A couple of things that I see is there's no activities going on at all. So that shouldn't be a surprise that you don't have a truckload of new work coming in the door. The next is a very shotgun approach, which is just very going out and trying to be everything to everyone, which is just very difficult, and you tend to bring in a very wide mix of clients. So that's not getting clear on your ideal client and what their problems are and where they hang out. And there's also a cold outreach approach. So I'm definitely starting to see this during COVID, with accountants going out on social platforms and just cold messaging or cold emailing prospects who don't know you, that you haven't had permission from them to contact you. Who knows whether they're interested in what you've got, but that's generally going to fall flat on its face because everyone's getting slammed in an approach like that, and that's generally not how people buy accounting or business advisory or CFO type services. And the other thing I'm seeing is very sort of sporadic and poor quality approaches on social media. So where to be once out of a blue moon, there'll be a burst of activity for a week or two and then there's nothing. And the quality within that week or two is generally quite poor. And the type of posts that I'm seeing is very much, it's almost like everyone's copying everyone. We're XYZ accountants and we've been around for this long and we're really good and we're friendly and we're great at what we do. Chat to us, reach out to us, let us know if we can help you. So it's a very direct promotional type post. It's not entertaining, it's not educational. It's basically, we want you to come in and give us some work so we can send you an invoice. That's pretty much it. Now, if that isn't your intention, that's how it's coming across. So either of them is a concern. So there's a great book called Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port, and he always talks about having something to invite people to. So if you're looking to engage with someone, or you are connected with someone, or you've started a conversation with someone, or you just meet someone new today, it's great to be able to have something to invite them to, because they're not already in a position to buy from you now. There's going to be a small percentage of people that will buy now, and they'll come to you and it'll either be like the emergency department at a hospital, right? They've cut their arm off, they need help right now. And there's going to be some where they're just having a terrible experience with their current accountant and they need to move now. They've made up their mind, it's done. So that's the absolute minority. Let's call that 3%. Well, what about the other 97%? What about that opportunity? Well, the reason that generally goes to the wayside is because your only option that you've got is to promote your services, because there's no real marketing or activities to invite that particular person to help them, to nurture them, to engage with them. The only thing you've got to offer is your services, and it's almost an all or nothing approach, right? Because if they're not in a position and they're not interested in buying the service right now, but they might be, you're going to lose that opportunity. So what we're going to look at now is what are some things you can do to nurture those relationships. And they're very marketing type activities, and they're not only for prospects, but they're also for existing clients, because you need to look after your existing clients, right? And so what are some things we can do where we're able to kill two birds with one stone. We're able to look after existing clients and look after potential clients with the aim that, we're going to retain more of our existing clients. There might be an opportunity to work closer with existing clients and increase our average client group fee. And we might be able to take some prospects along a journey where they might want to buy right now, but they might want to buy in 3 or 6 or 12 months. And so you're starting to build up a pipeline, so to speak, of potential opportunities where the time's not right now, but they're not saying no to you. What they're really saying is not now, and it is a coincidental that the first 2 letters of not now is actually no. So a lot of people you're talking to, it's actually no's not really a no, it just means not now. The problem you have is, well, what do I do with the not nows? Because if they say, yes, great, they need help with advisory and accounting and tax, I can do that. But if it's not now, I'm not sure what to do. So, a couple of ideas. And in his book, Michael Port, in Book Yourself Solid, he definitely does a great job there of sharing a number of different strategies. And his famous one is having something to invite people to the next step, as opposed to saying, well, reach out to us when you're ready. Or, it's almost just like, well, we're ready when you are, or the door's always open. It's great to sort of have the next thing to always invite people to, because it's not selling, it's helping. You might see a previous video of mine, and it's also a concept I talk about a lot, which is stop selling, start helping. And so this plays exactly into that. So the first one would be having case studies of your best, your favorite, your most successful ideal clients, the type of clients that you would love to clone and have more of them come in the door. Okay, so what if we could put together some case studies, just a couple, you don't need thousands, on those particular clients. They're going to be great to be able to share not only with existing clients that you'd like to work closer with, but also potential prospects that sort of fit that ideal client avatar, where you're able to show them real life examples of other businesses where you've been helping them, the type of services you've been providing. And really, in a case study, you want to see, we were here, we started working with this person in this firm, they did these things for us, we were a little bit unsure, but we put our trust in them, and thank God we did, because here's the outcome and here's where we're at right now, and we're never leaving this firm ever. It's a little bit of it's called a hero's journey. It's a little bit of the hero's journey, but that's what people like to see and like to read, because they don't know that you can do what you say you can do just yet. So this is going to help out with that process. Also awards. If you've won any awards, then you want to be promoting them. Okay, you want to be singing them from the mountaintop. So you might have won, it doesn't even matter what it is, a firm of the year, an innovative firm of the year, the new firm of the year, the CFO of the year. Any sort of awards are going to add some authority and social proof that perhaps you are at the top of your field, or that you've been recognized, that you're at the top of your field for that particular award, and people are going to look more favorably upon that. Having some ongoing educational content. Okay, so what I mean by that is videos. What I'm doing right now, perfect example. I do the Modern Firm Practices show once a week and put it out there every Wednesday. So it is ongoing, and it is regular, and it is consistent, and anyone that's following this and watching this knows that it comes out once a week, and frequency starts to build trust. Okay, Seth Godin covers that in his book, This is Marketing, which is a great marketing book. And he talks about how a lot of marketers are very hot and cold. They're on, they're off, and they're also too much planning and not enough doing. And what he believes is that in frequency of marketing activities, and exactly like this, doing videos, that in that frequency you start to build trust. A little bit like at 6 p.m. every single night, we know that the news is going to be on the TV, in Australia anyway, the news is going to be on the TV. And what do? We all have a lot of trust. That's a different debate to have, but we have a lot of trust in the news. We know it's going to be on. We know its frequency. You don't even have to think about it. If the cricket's on or the footy's on, they will literally stop the cricket and they will go to the news. No questions asked. It starts at 6 o'clock. Why? Because they know that they need to have that consistency and frequency to uphold their status of authority of, this is where we go as people of Australia to get our update and our news on current affairs and weather and sport and world news and so on. So videos is one. A podcast is another one. Okay, it's essentially a video without the visuals. It's just for your ears. So what about some regular content that you can put out there via podcasts? There's some great apps out there now. One is called Anchor.fm, and it makes podcasting so easy. It's not funny. I started a podcast back when I was in practice, probably a good 5 or 6 years ago. And you had to have developers and you had to do all this tricky tech stuff. It would put most people off. Nowadays, you can download an app, you give it a name, it can even create the artwork for you. You can literally just press and hold record on your phone and speak into it, and then push distribute, and it can push it out to all the different podcasting apps, and bang, you're under. It is the tech side of it now isn't the issue because it's simply so easy. So, would that be something your ideal clients and prospects would be interested in? An overarching theme here is you want to go where your clients are. So if they prefer to watch video and they're on LinkedIn, you want to be shooting videos and putting them on LinkedIn. If they more so listen to podcasts, let's say you've got a lot of, clients in the sporting niche. Your ideal clients are in the sporting niche. Well, there's probably a good chance a lot of them, they're at the gym, they're out running, they're walking on the beach, they're traveling to and from different venues and gyms and so on and so forth. There might be a higher chance they're going to be listening to podcasts than they've got time to sit there and listen to a video. So it's understanding how your clients and prospects consume content. Another one is putting together just a white paper. So it's basically just a write-up on a particular topic. So preferably something that speaks to that niche, a particular problem they have, or it could be a particular problem a lot of businesses have, but you just talk about it specifically for that niche. So you would use certain language. So if you looked after, let's say, a lot of allied health practitioners, you might use certain words and lingo and so on that they use. You also might make it a little bit more casual as well. So you want to sort of speak to what they would like to hear and how they like to engage. And so those white papers can just be a PDF document, and you can give it to a designer. You can, you could just get it made look quite good with all of your branding on it. It doesn't have to cost a bomb. Someone can whip it together. And if you needed to, you could find someone on Upwork or Fiverr just to quickly whip that together. It's not going to cost a lot, and you can share that over and over and over and over and over again. That's the key thing with it. It's the next step in the journey. You could talk to a client that you might ask a few questions. They might share this particular issue, and you could then say, I actually wrote something up on this exact topic that we've shared with all of our clients. Why don't I send that through to you? Great. What are you doing? You'll stop selling. You'll start helping. And the other one is just the blog. So it's just writing something, let's say at least 500 to 600 words minimum. You might want to do it once a week. In fact, that was one of the first things I ever started doing a long time ago when I started my marketing journey in practice. And a bit of a bonus tip here was that I bought in a marketer 1 day a week. Now, I was only getting started and getting up and running. I can't say I had a truckload of cash to throw around on full-time marketing and big, massive campaigns, but I could find enough for a marketer to come in 1 day a week and absolutely crack the whip on me on what I needed to do, but then they could pull all the things together. And when I really had to look at, well, what's the cost of a wage for 1 day a week for a year? When I compare that to the average size client I was looking to bring on, I didn't have to bring on that many new clients to get quite a good ROI on that investment. So with another point there I want to cover on the marketer is that I did learn a lot, but then I got to a point where it was just this particular person could just look after that department. So it was just another thing off my plate, because you can probably resonate as a partner. You've got a million things off your plate. So it's always good to get at least one thing off your plate. Plus there was the accountability. Marketing wasn't just a thing to put to the side. I knew there were certain things that had to be done every week. So when I rolled up on Friday and I knew she was going to be in the office, I had to have these things done, which meant if I was sitting on the couch Thursday night working on it, so be it. I couldn't have excuses. Regular events, so educational and entertainment. A little bit of a handbrake on entertainment at the moment because of COVID, but with educational, a great example of that would be running a monthly webinar. So that's one great thing I've seen in the accounting industry where a lot of accountants have really stepped up, is that they are stepping up their game running webinars. They either ran them sporadically, they either only ran a few of them, some of them have never run them before, and I'm now seeing firms run them at least monthly, which is fantastic. Everyone's getting used to working from home, people are getting used to sitting in front of a webcam. At least on a webinar, you don't even have to have the webcam, so it's just going to be your voice and a slide deck, which makes it a little bit easier, and you can be a little bit less nervous about doing that. But there's obviously a certain level of expectations. It's an accountant speaking to a webinar. You're not doing a James Cameron, Broadway, Hollywood blockbuster here. People don't expect it to be the next Star Wars, right? We expect it to be someone sitting at home with a slide deck that's doing their first or second ever webinar. So just be easy on yourself if you're starting to get into that, or you're already into it, but you're comparing yourself to others. Look, everyone had to start somewhere. Myself definitely no different. Still working on it all the time. So running educational webinars. What do I mean by that? Educational, you are teaching someone something. It could be compliance and tax related. It could be a new change to some type of cash relief or tax relief or something from the banks, or it could be how to build a cash flow war chest. It could be you could bring a content expert on, so you don't have to run all of these webinars either. It's not always how do I do it. It can sometimes be, well, who could I get onto this show? Who could I bring on this week that would be relevant and helpful to my clients? You might see a theme here. I was talking about helpful. Your webinar might just be an open Q&A. So you just literally turn it on. You can choose whether you want your video on or not. I would say if you're doing a live Q&A, turn your video on, because if we met face to face, you're looking at me face to face. So what's the difference between face to face and on something like Zoom with the video on? You still look exactly the same, and you're the only one concerned with how you look. No one else cares. And so doing a live Q&A allows you to address problems en masse. It also allows other people to hear other people's problems, which is insightful and helpful. It also allows other people to hear other people's questions that might be a great question that they didn't know to ask. Or it might be a question that is maybe 3 steps down the line from where they are, so they don't know to ask it now, but it's great to sort of see, right, well, when I get to that point, I now know how to navigate that or handle that. Also, promoting yourself. You need to sing your praises a lot higher, because if I see a lot of accountants running webinars, I am not seeing them being that well promoted. You can't just say we're running a webinar and expect 1,000 people to roll up. It doesn't work like that. You need to promote it. You need to tell everyone, and you need to ask them to tell everyone, and then they need to tell everyone. You need to send multiple emails, do multiple social media posts, talk to centers of influence and associations and clubs and referral partners, and invite them and ask them to share it with a lot of their contacts that would be ideal clients, and invite them along. If you're talking to prospects, you might want to say to them, hey, we're actually running this training at the end of the month, you should really come along. You might have a client who you'd like to work closer with, and you might have a webinar coming up on 7 ways to grow your business, and you want to work closer with them to help it with it. Great. Well, instead of going in and trying to sell them, hey, we should meet monthly and do a whole lot of reporting and it's going to cost you $2,000 a month, and the client saying no, you could perhaps put a few steps in between where you are now and having that conversation. Say, why don't you come along to this training? I'm going to show you some ways where you can put some focus on what drivers you need to influence to grow your business. You can already see it's a lot softer, and everyone's going to say yes to it. Okay, it doesn't mean they're all going to show up to it, but everyone will say yes to being helped. Not everyone will say yes to being sold to. The great thing with helping people is they'll go from where they are now to wanting to buy, as opposed to you trying to sell. No one likes being sold to, but we all love buying. You see the subtle difference there. Now, sometimes between where you are now and wanting to buy, a few things need to happen. And so a lot of these activities that I'm sharing today are going to help with that journey. Writing a book, okay, great piece of info. Everyone, I don't know about you, but when I see that someone's written a book, they've got instant authority. Even if I buy the book and I don't even read it, they must be an expert because they've written a book. So the great thing with a lot of you and a lot of the accountants that watch Modern Firm Practices is that you are already experts, and it's just bottling that up and putting it into a different type of format where you can be helpful. So a book is another great option. Helping with some basic growth planning. So instead of selling a service, what if you just put aside a little bit of time to help this particular business owner? So right, let's just jump on a quick 20-minute call. I'm going to show you something called the growth equation, and we're going to do a little bit of basic growth planning to see the potential in your business and perhaps where you should focus and what would be the best place to focus versus just trying to chase after more leads that's costing you a lot and you're struggling with. On the back of that, you're able to show off a little bit, you're able to help, and then perhaps could be a good time to either position working a bit closer, or if it's not the right time, you'll have the next thing to invite them to. And start building an email list. You've already got your email details of your clients. Of course you do. Your client comes on, you gather their details. But you're not always gathering details of people that are engaging with you and that are at the different stages. They've just learnt about you. Some might have been following your stuff for a while. If you're running webinars, they might have been participating in those webinars for quite some time. You want to start building that list of your prospects that you can then start communicating with, because the engagement and conversion rate on the back end of emails is still massive. But I see a lot of you focusing so strongly on social media and getting no results. Not even some, no results. But then you've got this email list that's untapped. Okay, and it's not just selling to that email list. What is it? It's inviting them to things like I'm talking about today. So you can see now when you're engaging with someone, and perhaps now isn't the right time for them to buy, you can share a case study with them. You can share some of the awards that you've won and what that means. You can share educational videos with them. You can share an educational podcast. You can share an educational white paper. You can share educational blogs. You can invite them to educational webinars. You can have quite helpful open Q&As to invite them to. You can push your promotion a little bit more using email. Fantastic example there. Using email to sing your praises a little bit more. You could send them a book and say, hey, everything you need to know is in here. The biggest problems I see in your niche industry. You could offer to give them a little bit of time and say, hey, I'll underwrite the time. I'm going to absorb it because I want to show you a few things and I want to commit to this relationship before you have to buy anything from me, any services or anything further. So let's put aside some time to do some basic growth planning. And you've got the opportunity to tap into your email list at any time and share whatever message you want. Helpful message, update messages, promotional messages, invite messages. The list goes on. So pick one of them. I've rattled off a whole lot. I'm going to put them below or around this video. If you're listening to this on a podcast, I'll have it in the notes. It will be around however you're watching or listening to this. Pick one of them and have it as something regular. So if you put together a white paper, you can regularly send it out. If you decide to do monthly webinars, you can always invite people to this one. They don't want to buy now, invite them to the next one. You can constantly be helping them and take action on it. Okay, don't do nothing and don't do it sporadically. It should be regular and it doesn't need to be difficult. It will help nurture your existing clients and it will over time convert more prospects, and they won't feel like they're being sold to. They'll feel like that this is someone that can truly help me achieve my goals. I'm Brad Turville. This is modernfirmpractices.com. Until next week, get out there, start helping and nurturing your existing clients and prospects. I'll see you then.